Hey, what's going on, guys? Kalamazi here. Today's video is I'm talking about what is likely going to be played as far as Mythic Plus is concerned. What dungeons to likely farm for better gearing in the first week of S1 or S2 and M+, and also a brief raid overview again. I want to talk about the M+ stuff a good bit. There's been questions a lot about that over the past few days. What am I going to play in M+, everything else? Don't worry, we'll cover it in this video. Also, my plane leaves in like 9 hours to the race world first. If you didn't know that, I'm casting the race again, which is very exciting, but I gotta rip this video out fast because I need a nap. So let's jump into it. Alright, so we're going to have timestamps below for the raid, specs in there, Mythic Plus, specs in M+, talking about that briefly, breaking it down, and then a section on what dungeons likely target. I mean, you can sort of target whatever. You want to run them all week one anyways for some score and stuff, so you can plug groups and all that, but there are some that are a bit more beneficial than others. My washer's running. If it's loud, I'm sorry. I got to leave for the airport in a little bit. So we have, Venomous Abyss stuff here. We talked about it a few times already, and with the recent changes, like the Demonology, the tier set buffs and things, and nothing really happening to Aff, and Destro being the same for the most part, Mayhem is now fixed for Destro, for those that don't know. Mayhem and Improved Mayhem are now working to, or Improved Havoc, basically works with Mayhem, are now working where it's not hopping to your main target and things when it's active. Phenomenal fix, make playing Destro's raid much more more exciting, much less annoying. So that's a big positive, big W there. We hit on this a few times already in some videos, so very briefly, just skim the raid. This boss, I think it's Affliction or Demonology. You could just play Destro here and just play like Diabolus Destro and just cleave like adds onto the boss and stuff. I think this is likely an Aff fight. Demonology's stat cleave profile is good. It's not as good as Destro like on most fights this raid tier, spoilers ahead, but like it does decent stat cleave still too, which this boss has a good bit of. The unfortunate part is the ads sort of spawn across the room a good bit. You're dragging the boss around a lot, ads are over here, and it's hard for Demonology to swap targets that fast with pets running across the room. All that stuff. It's sort of like Meat Grinder-esque, and also the first boss of the raid. To that extent, I think it's mostly an Aff fight at this point, honestly. You sort of spam seed on next alley, apply some UAs with your tier set if you have it. If not, just, prio it down. Cleave the ads down. Shouldn't be that threatening. Pretty cool first boss, but likely an Aff boss. Sentinels is spread cleave. Think Amalgamation Chamber, think Cauldron of Carnage. This is Destro, Hellcaller through and through. Havoc, Improved Havoc, just cleave the ads. They're across the room. Havoc them down, blow them up. Super cool. Mayhem would not work here. They're too far spread apart. Also, my website, Kalamazi.gg, has all the builds for these fights as well. I will update it if things change, both raid and M+, but if you want them, shameless plug, there you go. Lost Explorers. With the Mayhem fix and everything, this is just a Destro Mayhem fight. There's 2 stack targets basically all the time. The third one's tanked off to the side. Yes, Destro Mayhem this fight and hit the 2 bosses and maintain Wither on the third. Hellcaller Destro stuff with Mayhem and Improved Havoc. There is like 2 stack targets. Like it is worth casting Seed if you're playing Aff, but I mean like there's not 3 targets. Destro's better 2 target, all that. Demo stack cleave is fine too, but not as good as just Destro Havoc cleave. Destro. Vashnik is the other fight I think could maybe be a Demonology fight. This is a weird fight where the boss is like being moved around to like altars in the room. Every so often like ads spawn in, some AoE ads, some like stacked 2 ads stacked together. In the back of the room is like 1 large ad. When it dies, spawn smaller ads. I think it's likely a Demonology fight. There's some stack cleave at times, but you want to hit the boss as well. And Demo single target, it's not great, don't get me wrong. But it does bring a lot of stack cleave, where if you're playing Affliction and looking for an AoE build, and the boss is by himself at the time, I'm pretty sure it's not, I know, it's not going to be as good as Demonology is. This could be the one Demo fight at the tier, barring low tech, we'll see where it goes, but I'm leaning Demo here. So currently we have Aff, Destro, Demo. So Zorak's to be highest single target. Spoilers, it's Destro, Hellcaller. This is also Diabolus Demo, for what it's worth. So yes, Zorak, Destro, Hellcaller, highest single target. Is what it is. Patchwork fight, burn it down. Twin Fangs, Mayhem, and Improved Havoc being fixed here is awesome for this fight. So Twin Fangs, Hellcaller, Destro, not much else to it. 2 targets permanently, you can cleave things down all the time. Add spawn in the back of the room. Some builds might play Kata here, some might not. See where it goes. I don't know. But Destro stuff on Twin Fangs. Cold Altar, surprisingly, Destro. Likely playing Hellcaller Destro here as well. Single target in phase 1, 2 targets in phase 2 in Heroic, 2 targets in Intermission, and 2 targets in phase 3. On Mythic, there's more ads, obviously. Good Destro cleave fight, all that. Leaning Destro. Ulutek's a weird one. There's a damage amp in this fight. Ad spawn stack at times. Big AoE burn. It could be Demo. I don't know if you play Aff here. It's hard to say. You got to see how the fight looks. It's one of those fights you got to see it in game and go from there. But yeah, so My guess, Affliction, Destro, Demo, Destro, and question mark for the raid. All right, getting into Mythic Plus here. Usually I'd like shop over, use some like B-roll footage of M Plus here, but I gotta go. I gotta go to the airport soon, so we're just gonna yap at this for a minute or two. People have been asking a lot, what is gonna be the spec to play week 1 of M Plus? And great news for you, they're all about the same for the most part. They all sort of excel at different things and are subpar other things. You can play whatever you want. Now, on the high end, I think Destro is likely the best spec in M+. Like a Diabolist build, it might change to play like something like this instead, possibly. See where things go, maybe. This over like Minute and a Half Infernal. See where it goes. There's some speculative builds floating around like that, but Destro Diabolist is going to be like your highest bet, like on the higher end. But playing Destro in Plus brings a lot of question marks, right? Destro's AoE is very good as Diabolist. There's like some ritual ruin or ritual play, all you can do that kind of stuff too. But you're playing Cataclysm and you're playing Rain of Fire. If you've played these in the past, what's the one thing my bars keep resetting? The tanks love to do is not hold mobs in Cataclysm and Rain of Fire. Especially in like a week 1 Mythic Plus scenario. Destro by itself, if mobs being dragged out, it'll still be fine, but it's not going to be like, it's not going to be as good in like a plus 10 pug scenario as it will be like on the higher end if you're pushing keys week 1 for whatever reason, not as running for gear. It's still fine if it's a mediocre scenario. In the optimal scenario, Destro thinks the highest, but at the same time, like, it's not going to be on average, I don't think, as good as Affliction or Demonology when it comes to like pugging 10 keys for gearing and all that. So when it comes to Demo versus Affliction's damage profile is consistent. You have Seed Cleave, Seed Bestow, Dark Harvest every 40-ish seconds, give or take. You can just spam Seed nearly infinitely, right? Now, you want to maintain Agonies a bit more than you did in the past because they sort of nerfed the interaction or they removed Nocturnal Yield, so you can't get instant cast Seed procs without shard instability. So that nerfed the overall Seed cast rate we had in M+. But Affliction is very good when it comes to just M+ spam. Just spam Seed all the time in M+, and you crank. The unfortunate part about Affliction is if you play the AoE build, you have no single target. It is not very good in ST at all, and that's just sort of the world we live in. When it comes to destruction, we talked about it a minute ago, Destro single target is likely a bit better than AF, but it's still not great. So if you're looking at like Destro versus AF, Destro on the high end will bring like more AoE and like a higher burst scenario with higher target count. Not as consistent. It's still good outside CDs, but Affliction's very consistent in AoE. You spam Seed over and over and over, and they're both like not great at single target, but Destro might have a tiny bit higher with Diabolist stuff. Once again, if you're looking at the AoE scenario, Affliction doesn't care. I mean, it cares if things are, it wants stacked mobs, but you can drag the mobs across the room. As long as they're all stacked together with the tank, it doesn't matter. If you have a pack, you move the pack with Destro, it's out of your Kata, out of your Lake of Fire, out of your Rain of Fire, and it feels terrible. So you'll probably see a decent bit of AF in keys, day 1, week 1, farming gear and all that, because of the consistent AoE. Single targets are not great, but at the same time, it's a 10. It's not like a 22 or whatever, right? So there's that. What I'm going to probably play is Demonology, however. Demonology, its AoE is also consistent. Dogs every 20, good stack, cleave, implosion, all that. Minute damage profile with Tyrant. The build's just strong. It's not exceptionally strong in single target or exceptionally strong in AoE. Destro will definitely burst higher in AoE with CDs. Affliction, we're consistent, I guess, with Seed spam. Demo is consistent, though, when it comes to AoE and things in Plus. But Demo is better in single target than both the Destro and AF builds, I would say, in M+. Minute CDs, very consistent profile. You've got Tyrant every minute, you've got CDs basic every pack. And when it comes to M+, pugs, average, just scenario, having that stat cleave, where you can just drag the pack along, dogs are chomping, you're imploding, cleaving your hand, Gul'dans, also very strong when it comes to the average pug scenario, right? Good single target, solid AoE. All the specs are pretty close. They all excel at little things, right? Destro's like stack max AoE in organized scenarios, a little bit higher. Affliction, consistent CDs, very good. Not as high over AoE burst, not terrible. Bad single target. Demonology, not as high burst as like Destro, or probably even AF with Seed spam in a sense. It ramps more with Tyrant and your Apex talent and AoE, even in single target, but it has better single target than the two, and is overall just a strong, relatively well-rounded spec, just not as strong as it should be in these buffs. So if you're looking at what I'm going to play, it's probably Demonology week 1, farming keys. But honestly, if I'm in the mood for Destro, I'll play it. AF, I'll play it. They're all like fine and solid, but none of them are meta. Okay, now when it comes to what dungeons to sort of like, I guess you can say target in a sense for Mythic Plus, obviously you're going to want to run all of them at least once for score and everything, make pugging easier, all that kind of stuff, right? I think it's like a catalyst charge, some rank, I don't know. But as far as like gear is concerned, there are a handful of dungeons that offer solid like rewards and items, you know, that you might want to farm more than others. I have each spec here that I sim for my own character, sim your own if you want, just raid bots, drop Optimizer, toss it in, and you can select the raid, S2, and plus dungeons, whatever you want. I'm simming them all at Myth 10 at max upgrade 321. Obviously, it'll vary. It's all relative. It is what it is. So looking at 3 specs here, Destro, I have Affliction, and I have Demonology. Now, at the same time, bloodmallet.com has sims for Destro and AF. Demo's not here. I don't know why. CBA is too late in the patch to worry about it at this point. It'll be there at some point, I'm sure. But as far as trinkets are concerned, if you want like a general reference to look at what's good and what's not, for the most part, Blood Mallet's here. You can check this too. Now, looking at options and things we have here, right? So I sim Destruction, Affliction, and Demonology. So the highest dungeons, Murder for Destruction for me, right? Murder Row, Ruby Life Pools, Altar of Fangs. Now when it comes to Affliction, Altar of Fangs, Den of Nalarok, King's Rest, Murder Row, Ruby Life Pools. And Demonology is finishing up in 10 hours here because it's Demo Sim. There's 2 things here. 2 off the camera. Murder Row, these basically have weapons. The higher ones have weapons, right? Now there's a staff here, a main hand here. However, like, this obviously gets tied into the what are you crafting week 1, week 2 thing and all that. I'm going to sort of put the staves and all that aside for now. I will mention, though, the Altar of Fangs has a pretty good weapon with a damage proc on it. That's pretty solid. Now, there's a world where, I mean, offhand is Biss with the new hunt embellishment on it for Warlock in Season 2. There's a world you obtain this, maybe just craft an offhand if you're able to get that, right? However, the thing I want to look at more right here is trinkets. So when it comes to trinkets, I don't know why I want Mimmer on here, but that's fine either way. When it comes to trinkets and things, right? Destruction, Murder Row, we got Freight Runner's Flask. Was nerfed, still pretty good. Altar of Fangs, you have Vial of Volatile Venom, also pretty good. Void's Arena has Mind Piercer Sigil, a little stacking damage into effect here. Also not bad, a little undervalued this patch. There's other trinkets too like this, but it's sort of whatever, it's damage. It's not as good as it seems. An Emblem of the Tsar, also a decent one here too. Not great for Destro, but regardless, on the table. Now, when it comes to Destruction, probably the main spec you're playing in the raid. Murder Row, Flask, looks very good. Altar of Fangs, also not bad. Vial of Volatile Venom. When it comes to Affliction, Altar of Fangs jumps a bit. You've got Vial here. The neck's pretty good. Obviously, it varies for everyone, but Vial's looking pretty decent here. When it comes to Murder Row, Flask sitting at about 0.8. So actually, if you're looking for trinkets specifically, Freight Runner's Flask, not looking too bad. Vial of Venom here as well. However, Stormbound Emblem of the Tsar jumps considerably for Affliction here also, comparatively to Destruction, which is sitting at 0.3, a very minuscule upgrade. This trinket requires a channel for 2 seconds before you catch your pop your CDs and everything, so don't interrupt it and mess up your uptime. I will say, when it comes to AF Sims, it has both Vial and Emblem being very, very close when it comes to like Biss Sims or trinkets. I've seen it as higher in Sims a good bit, even like the general profiles too. Both pretty close here. Things even out. You might want Vial. Affliction is very haste dependent this patch too, so hey, you know, if you high roll W, if you low roll, well, Vial is what it is. But both Altar and Murder Row not looking bad for trinkets, obviously. And Demonology, Altar of Fangs, Vial 0.5, and you have Murder Row sitting here at 1% for Freight Runner's Flask, and you have things like, once again, Sigil being here, and you have the channel trinket sitting somewhere, King's Rest as like a downgrade, I guess. Sort of depends. I don't know. So when it comes to what I'm looking at targeting here, wrapping us up a bit, obviously there are items like cloaks and necks and shoulders and these random pieces here and there you might want to target later on. When it comes to initial targeting, where I need like basically everything, I need score, I need any piece of gear, a hero track, I'm looking at a lot of Murder Row and a lot of Altar of Fangs, right? Even if you exclude these trinkets, or these weapons, right? No staff, no offhand here. Still a good trinket, Vial, and Flask, and all these. They're all like decent upgrades to different specs. Destro, obviously Vial pretty good. Freight Runner, very good. And Destro's gonna be the main spec you play in the raid. So Murder Row, Altar of Fangs, both look pretty good. You have things like a socketed ring, Crit Mastery Cloak, Gross Bracers, okay boots, sort of whatever neck. But keep in mind, early on, eye level is very big It's very important. Stats do matter. Obviously, secondary stats matter a bit, but eye level is indeed very important. This offhand is essentially BIS. That's how like crafted for Warlock this patch, but at the same time, you're probably crafting at some point. Shoulders, crit mastery, crit ace ring, very good here. BIS, I believe, for 2 specs out of the 3. Also, be aware of like various trinkets, like not a writhing serpent and like sapling of the dawn root. These damage-based effects here, they might sim higher for you, and like they're not terrible when it comes to like cleave fights or spread cleave fights, where these things are only hitting one target. Versus like Flask giving you stats when you cleave with Havoc or cleave in like multiple stacks, and this is only hitting one target. These lose a lot of value, obviously, so keep that in mind. So TLDR, you can run your own sims or raid bots if you want. Raid bots for optimizer as far as like gear is concerned. But if I'm looking to run something off the bat, it's probably Murder Row, Altar of Fangs. Void Scar, low-key isn't bad either. Good neck. The trinket's not bad. There's not a lot of good equip trinkets in this season. Whether it's, I mean, there's obviously Bag from the raid. Sigil isn't terrible. There's a lot of weird ones though. It's like Sigil, if you can get one from a hero track, probably pretty good for you for a decent while, unless you pull a Giba's Bag from the raid. So keep that in mind. Run your own sims if you want to as well. Murder Row though, and Altar of Fangs are looking to be the most, I guess you could say, rewarding ones for me. That's what I'm gonna look at initially, obviously, and go from there. Keep in mind these are also only M+ sims. For this too, if you want to run a raid sim, do that as well. But you know, you can target M+ over and over. The raid, you get 1 or 2 chances, unless you're doing splits. That's it. I'm getting on an airplane in a few hours, boys. Wrapping it up. I'll see you guys again tomorrow or sometime soon. I'll be streaming from the race world first a bit when I can. I might try and stream a bit Monday night when I get there. I don't know. We'll see. But obviously, working the race a bit. You'll find me on Team Liquid's channel casting it and stuff. Sorry, this video's fast, but I gotta go. We're yapping. And yeah, thanks for all the support, guys. I will see you all again from the race. I am rating this tier. Very exciting. We'll go from there. Thanks for watching. I'll see you later. Gian.